All right. Yeah, so it's been a while. Yes, maybe like 3 months or so. Yeah, I think I stopped my weekly updates in like around May. It's May, June, July. Yeah, it's now August. I mean, there's a reason. Because I was in China first, from May first week to June, mid-June. Then I was in Denmark. Then I was in Singapore. Okay, and I'm showing off probably, but don't mean to. So yeah, it's been a very busy summer with a lot of travel and then I also tried to do some, or I'm trying to do some more like writing and public writing kind of thing, which is so it's easier now to do because of LLMs. So I can have some, structure in mind, and then I kind of trying to translate. But that's sort of um, uh, that's called last mile problem, or like, okay, you get a piece of chunk text, and then now you have to so there's some of me, some of an LLM there. So I have to somehow, I mean, it's actually more work, not more work, but a bit more work to make sure that the text doesn't look like it's completely LLM generated, even though it's not a thing that I'm hiding. I'm using an LLM to write it. So yeah, that's taking some time. It's harder than I thought it was. Like, I mean, I thought like, I could scale up whatever I want to write. Yeah, but yeah, after a certain point, like you realize that okay, people will might harm me more than it might help to have these sorts of low quality stuff. So hopefully, I mean, I still want to keep doing it, but it's been a bit harder. Like with these videos, like say I used to post these videos every week. Obviously, it's not for anyone else's consumption. I'm not advertising it anywhere, but it's just also a catalog of like, how things are going, how the life is as a junior faculty and things like that. Okay, so how are the last 3 months or so? Very quickly. So I was in, yeah, I mentioned this. I was in China. I was doing so I was on a sabbatical, right? Like the previous semester, the third year. I had my third year tenure review, and then a sabbatical. So I was there, and so I was in China for like around 45 days. So for 1 month of that 45 days, I was in Guangzhou at Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. I was visiting there. Uh, it was really good. Like, I mean, I overall ha went in with a very mediocre slash negative view of China, but I came out radicalized, like, I don't know, propagandized maybe. It's not, yeah, it's definitely much, much better than what you hear from here, from your Western perspective. Like, you really hear of China as this sort of authoritarian. I mean, all of that is true, but it's much better, like, especially for like economic migrant like me. I uh, Things just changed a lot, like, in my mind, looking at how China is, especially like also coming from that sort of India kind of look, because India and China used to be similar 30 years ago. Anyway, yeah, so it was really good, both in terms of the research infrastructure as well as the public infrastructure, tourism infrastructure, everything. It was really good. So that was around for 30 days of research. So I worked with this guy, Gareth Tyson. Used to be at Queen Mary. Now he's there for like a tenure track position. HKUST is really good. And then I was doing tourism all across China. So from the south, like, Beijing, Xi'an, Zhangjiajie in the center, then Changsha, then, back to Guangzhou, back to New Jersey. It was really good as well. Like, I like that. Then, yeah, so over the summer, let's say, started in June, I would say. So I came in June 15th, and the June 20th, I went to Denmark, so not much time. So the Denmark thing was like I had a uh, talk there, I had a few talks there. Um, I had got rid of, like, submitted and like published some of those papers, which are single author, like two of them, in workshops at ICWSM, which is like a demotion. I mean, I really had high hopes when I first submitted my first single author paper, and yeah, ended up 2 years later being submitted as a workshop paper, and now I'm done with it. So that's that, and another single author paper, and a couple of other papers. I got one paper in the main conference and one talk for this Adamic Glance award, which is very grateful to that. I think it went well overall. This is a very small conference, around 200-300 people. I know most of them. I am, in the leadership in the community, so all of that is quite good. Okay, so anyway, I have to go for now, but maybe I'll continue the rest of the summer in another video. Okay, so yeah, so I finished that conference in Denmark, and then came back. So the biggest thing that I did during the summer was so I was teaching a course on like AI snake oil, that book, and so I was, I was going through that. I prepared that material before I left to China, but I uploaded that, so I was involved in that class. I had to maintain that class, grade assignments, and things like that. So that's part of the work. I also did some work on we're submitting a grant proposal. So the grant proposal was about calibrated dependence. It's about how people are using AI, and people either, so there's two ends of the spectrum. One end is like people who are, okay, AI is shit, I don't want to use it, or AI people don't know about AI. So I think for those people it's really helpful to get some sort of adoption. And there's the other end, like, which are most students. I think we have a paper on ChatGPT where we had these logs from students, and we see that they're just blatantly copy pasting assignments. Like 80% of the assignments we were just copy pasting. So that will lead to this sort of over dependence issue. I mean, I am one of those examples as well personally, that I really have to mentally control myself not to be just go to an AI and have this sort of over dependence. So I wrote a proposal for NSF on like how do you make it how do you develop a framework that kind of prevents this sort of over dependence. And so I come up with this sort of like term called calibrated dependence. So basically, it's about balancing autonomy with utility. So as your autonomy decreases, utility increases, your autonomy is decreasing. So you want to maximize this function where your utility and autonomy are balanced. I want to have some sort of control, but I also want to get the maximum utility. So that's kind of the proposal. I mean, to be honest, it's not like the best of my thinking, right? Like, I mean, I know for sure there are gaps in there, which any decent person who has done this for a living and reading these would be easily able to see through and identify. But I hope I mean, and these gaps are not like deliberate, like they are not because of some tardiness. Like it's really hard to tell, like, what are the use cases of AI in your 5 years, right? Like, and a career proposal is supposed to be what you'd be doing 5 years from now. Um, so yeah, let's see how hopefully that'll work. But I spent a lot of time, like, almost first 2 weeks of July on that. And then I don't know what else I did. Like I did something else. There was something else. I forgot. Like there was something else a bit more major during July. And then I was in Singapore from the 20th to the 30th. So I was in Singapore for 1 week. So I was there for this digital defense symposium. So I'm part of this experts panel where they invite me every year. It's a 3-year contract. So 3 years are done. So I'm not going next year. But they invite me every year. It's you give a presentation about like what you're doing, and you host a panel or something like that. So last year I didn't do anything. This year I did a panel on disinformation in the AI age and like what it means. And I mean, they bring these like amazing people. So there's this journalist from the BBC who's now like runs this sort of very big think tank. There's another professor from Sweden. There's another professor from Japan. So I was on a panel. I was like the most least qualified person there, but I was supposed to be hosting the panel. The panel was I'm pretty sure these people are watching it, but just shit. Like, the speakers, I guess, I mean, they're well known, they're in their own right, but they just, I mean, everyone is just winging it and like just talking about what they want. Like, I mean, I try to be diligent and try to uh, send an email earlier, ask, okay, what are you going to speak? Just send it so that we all can be coherent and like, okay, nobody cared. So anyway, so the panel was really shit. Like, I think uh, I also presented about like AI and misinformation. So I have that video on YouTube. It's a decent one. Like again, I mean, a lot of these are just trying to say things about that you never know what will happen in the military and misinformation, and trying to put like a more positive spin. So, people, especially in the militaries, are like really thinking of militarizing and preparing for militarizing misinformation. But it's not that bad. Like, it's going to be bad. It's going to be different. Obviously, the world is evolving every day, but you just don't like think of it as a big threat that is new and like you have to do something radically different. That was my take. And then yeah, I was in India for like a few days, and then I came back. So that was already August. So yeah, that was how the summer went. Overall, yeah, I mean, how about, how about any research, right? Like, so did I do any research in the summer? So there were some papers which are finalizing, like, so there's this IJOC, International Journal of Communication paper that I was solo author. I wrote that. I got accepted in the summer, so that's good. I'm working on a final draft. And in general, like, I want to just get things off my plate. Like if you look at my website, like there's I think early this year, I think I had like 7, 8 papers on like unpublished. So I'm now slowly moving those to the published pile, which is good. But that means, that pile is now getting smaller. So I don't have any work there that is ongoing or like that is right now ongoing. I want to take some time to think about like work in this space, especially AI and its impacts on the global south, like in India to start with. Like I think there's a lot of gap there, but I just don't want to jump on it. Like also the reality is I don't have the money to do anything. If I had that sort of NSF grant or something else, I would have really liked to do that. But I applied to a bunch of other grants. In the recent 2, 3 days, I just applied to a Rutgers internal grant. I applied to some foundation, so on. Like, let's see. Hopefully, those some of those will work out. Even if I have some like small amount of money, 50K or so, I think that should be good enough for me to do something impactful. I think the time is running out, but I really want to do something in that space very quickly and have some sort of impact there and pivot away from misinformation. I'm also writing a lot these days, like a lot is in like one post a week or so. Hopefully, I'll keep that up and keep publishing these blog posts, which are not papers, but not as detailed, and there's random thoughts. Let's see. So yeah, that's how the summer was, and hopefully that was good. Hopefully, yeah, these sorts of videos will keep coming every week. Let's see. Let's see. Hopefully, I mean, I'll try my best.